Hey guys, this is a demo of Rhythmic Convolutions, which is a collection of impulse responses I designed specifically for the processing of rhythmic material. Let me show you what it is and how to use it. I'm going to start with a simple rhythmic track I built in Live. What I'm using here is just for the purpose of this demo. There are several convolution engines available out there, and as far as the initial rhythmic part, it can be anything you want to process. A drum machine, real drums or percussions, beatboxing, even tonal instruments if they have a percussive quality. As you can see, my kick, drum, snare, and hi-hat sounds are on separate tracks so that each element can be processed in a different way. On the right side, you can see my return tracks, each one containing a convolution engine with a different impulse response loaded in. And if you take a look on the left again, you will see that each element is sent to the return tracks with different levels. I'm going to activate the returns now. You might be already familiar with convolution reverbs, but a convolution engine can be also used to experiment with sound in a different way, like I'm doing here, to add noticeable changes to the timbre and temporal structure of a percussive sound. Like I've wrote in the description, I wasn't interested in a generic assortment of impulse responses. I wanted to focus my attention on materials like metals, wood, rubber, minerals, water, and create something specifically designed for the manipulation of rhythmic sources. Let me open a session with some of the impulse responses from the theme Metalsmith. Keep in mind that several convolution engines offer ways to modify the behavior of the impulse response. Pitch and length can be changed, the EQ, fade in and fade out can be applied. So the amount of stuff that you can create starting from these impulse responses can be pretty extensive if you think about it. I'm using here the same initial groove so that you can hear how the different impulse responses are being affected. The additional processed elements that you're hearing are following the profile of the initial rhythmic part. So that means that if you're playing this rhythmic part in real time, like a drummer would do, or let's say you're improvising on a drum machine, you will end up interacting with the processing in a musical way, because you will be inspired to make certain choices based on what you hear and not just based on a preconceived pattern. Let me load a session with a different basic groove now, which I will process with the Woodland theme. Here's the original unprocessed groove. I created this theme with different wood sound sources, creating noises from the floor, little twigs, an old piece of wood that was breaking apart, cabinet doors, and stuff like that. Now, if you already watched my rhythmic processing and convolution processing video tutorials, you already know that you can expand this sound design approach into much more. But if you haven't and you would like to find out more about them, these are the links, so you can check them out if you like. I will now open a different rhythmic track with a different time signature and tempo that I will process with a mix of impulse responses coming from different themes. This is the original unprocessed part. And now I will add the processing. Barley, glass, water movements, filtered noise, a distorted noise sequence. Metal. In case you're wondering, I am moving the faders up and down with the controller in real time as I am recording this. But if you prefer, you can always automate the whole session for a more accurate control. Some of these impulse responses create subtle elements, others are more extreme, but keep in mind that they are processing sounds in real time, so it depends what you're feeding into them. A certain impulse response might sound different if it's processing a bass drum, a snare, or something completely different. And finally, here's another mix of materials applied to the first groove I played. Here I used rice, electrical noises, water, paper, and metal. Once you put together something you like, you could continue working inside your live session in real time, or export grooves as audio files and sequence them together with other stuff. Anyway, I hope this introduction helped you understand the concept behind rhythmic convolutions. Enjoy making music, and keep in mind that everything starts with your imagination.